The galaxy had been quiet for centuries. Trade routes hummed with commerce, stars shone without interruption, and civilizations grew at a peaceful, predictable pace. For most species, humanity was a faint memory, a legend of the old wars, a species nearly lost thousands of years ago. Stories of their courage and power were told only in whispers and old records. Then the sensors picked it up. At first, it was a faint signal from the edge of human space. Scouts reported unknown ships drifting silently through the void. They were not new designs. They were old ancient warships, black and massive, with hulls polished by time and history. Machines thought lost for 3,000 years were alive again. The alien fleets monitoring the region froze. Historians among them gasped. These ships were the very legends humanity had left behind after the Great Exodus, when nearly all human fleets disappeared into the void. Their return was impossible, or so everyone believed. The ships did not respond to hails. They did not fire weapons. They did not communicate. They simply moved with deliberate purpose, traveling straight for the Galactic Center. In the Galactic Council, alarms rang. Delegates of countless species rushed to the main chamber. Screens flashed with data. The old human fleet was growing larger. Ships that should have been rusting relics of history now drifted in formation, silent and deadly. "This cannot be," hissed the reptilian delegate, claws gripping the edge of its podium. "Humans have been gone for thousands of cycles. How are these ships moving?" The oldest member of the council, a luminous being older than most civilizations, shook its head slowly. "They were always planning," it said. "Even when we believe them gone, they prepared. They do not age as we do, and they do not forget. They wait." Across the galaxy, news spread. Citizens stopped their routines. Traders, miners, and scholars stared at their monitors, wondering if humanity had returned as a friend or a predator. Fear and awe spread faster than light. In the council chamber, projections showed the human ship's trajectory. They were not attacking. Not yet. But they were inside restricted space, closer than any fleet had been in 1,000 years. Sensors could barely keep up. Weapon systems and shields hummed nervously, as if sensing the weight of history. "What do they want?" asked a young delegate, voice trembling. The ancient member did not answer immediately. Its glow dimmed as it studied the formations of the returning fleet. "They do not ask. They do not negotiate. They simply arrive," it said finally. "And the galaxy will notice." Back on Earth, far from the eyes of the council, human officers watched quietly. The fleet had awakened. Warships that had been drifting in silent orbit for millennia powered up again. Energy fields flared. Engines hummed. The long-dead fleet was alive. A general stepped forward. "The galaxy will remember this day," he said calmly. "They will see what humanity can do when it chooses to return." As the ancient ships moved closer to the galactic center, alien fleets tried to intercept. Long-range sensors scrambled, weapons primed, fleets mobilized, but the humans moved like shadows. No one could track them accurately. No one could touch them. The first reports came back in pieces. A patrol destroyed not by attack, but by silence and disruption. Systems failed. Ships powered down. Sensors went blind. Humans were not fighting yet. They were showing control. The council whispered among themselves. This was not a return. This was a statement. And far across the stars, the galaxy began to stare in awe. The humans were back. And they had arrived first. The Galactic Council had never seen fear like this. Sensors were filled with readings they could not explain. Ancient human warships, thought extinct for 3,000 years, were moving through council space. They were silent, invisible to most scanners. They made no announcements. They made no mistakes. Council chambers buzzed with panic. Delegates shouted over each other, pointing at the holoscreens. They should be gone. The reptilian delegate said, claws trembling. Their fleets. Their technology. Everything should be dead. They are alive, an aquatic delegate whispered. And they are moving faster than any of our fleets can react. Council fleets scrambled. Hundreds of warships launched from orbital stations, weapons ready, shields at maximum. Long-range scanners tried to track the ancient ships. But every time they detected one, it disappeared. A moment later, it reappeared behind the fleet, perfectly positioned to block escape. No one knew what to do. They are not attacking. Yet, the oldest council member said, voice soft but steady. Its glow dimmed. They are teaching us a lesson. On Earth, human officers watched silently. The fleet moved with precision that had been honed over centuries. Engines flared only when needed. Weapons remained hidden. No chaos, no panic. Just quiet, purposeful power. A general nodded at the main screen. Phase 2 begins, he said. Let them see. Let the galaxy remember. Council ships tried to intercept, but the humans were always one step ahead. Missiles vanished into the void as if absorbed by space itself. Energy beams struck shields that flickered and died. Warships became useless, drifting without control. Panic spread to the council chambers. Delegates who had boasted about humanity being weak now huddled in fear. Some whispered, others trembled, but no one spoke loudly. They realized the humans they remembered from history were not the humans of today. They were something else entirely. They learned from us. One ancient delegate said quietly, staring at the dark shapes moving through space. They learned everything we taught them. And more. Meanwhile, civilian populations across the galaxy watched in awe. News feeds showed ships moving silently, perfectly coordinated. Reports of system failures, drifting fleets, and powerless stations spread like wildfire. Some called it a miracle. Others called it a warning. The council tried communication once more. Hails were sent. Messages demanded explanation. Threats were issued. Nothing. The human fleet ignored all of it. It did not fire. It did not respond. It controlled the space around the council system silently, like predators circling prey. A young delegate whispered, trembling, "Why don't they speak?" The oldest council member's glow dimmed further. Because they do not negotiate with those who once tried to erase them, it said. They let their presence speak instead. And the message was clear. The humans had arrived first. They would decide what came next. In the shadows of Earth's command center, officers monitored the council systems. Every movement was calculated. Every step precise. This was no attack. It was a demonstration. The galaxy watched in awe, fear, and disbelief. The humans were back. And no one could predict their next move. The council was panicking. Every attempt to stop the ancient human warships had failed. Fleets froze. Systems shut down. Weapons misfired. The council realized a terrible truth. These were not the humans of today. They were legends reborn, carrying the tactics and technology of a long-lost age. The humans moved through space with the confidence of hunters. They did not scatter. They did not make mistakes. Every ship knew its place. Every maneuver had a purpose. Council fleets tried to fight back. Hundreds of warships charged energy weapons and fired volleys of missiles. For a moment, the galaxy held its breath. Then the human ships vanished. One by one, the alien weapons fizzled against unseen shields. A council commander shouted, "How can this be? Their ships are invincible." "They are not invincible," said the oldest member of the council, glowing dimly. "They are prepared. They have waited centuries to return. Every move we make, they anticipated. The humans did not strike civilians. They did not fire on cities. They disabled only the Council's military structures one by one. Supply depots stopped working. Communication hubs went dark. Patrol fleets lost engines and power. The humans wanted to show strength, not kill. Across the galaxy, alien species watched in fear and awe. They remembered the stories. Humans could erase entire fleets silently, crush entire worlds without warning, and return without leaving evidence. Now, those legends were alive again. In the council chamber, delegates whispered urgently. "We underestimated them," said one, voice shaking. "We thought humanity was weak. We thought they would take centuries to rise again. We were wrong." The humans, meanwhile, positioned their fleet above the Council's core systems, not attacking, but controlling. Every strategic point was blocked. Every escape route monitored. The Council world was trapped without a single human ship firing a shot. A young delegate asked, "Why are they not speaking? Why are they not attacking?" The oldest council member's voice was quiet but heavy. "Because they do not need to. Their silence is louder than any weapon. They do not ask. They do not warn. They simply exist, and that is enough to make the galaxy obey." At Earth, officers monitored everything. A general leaned over the main console. "The Council thinks this is a threat," he said. "They do not understand. This is not a war. This is a lesson." A junior officer looked puzzled. "A lesson? For what?" The general smiled faintly. "For forgetting us. For thinking 3,000 years of silence means weakness. For thinking humanity can be ignored." In the council system, panic had turned to despair. Fleets could not move. Cities were powerless. Delegates tried to negotiate, to plead, to order their fleets into action, but the humans were always one step ahead. And then a single broadcast appeared across every council screen. White letters on black. "We have returned. We remembered. We act now." The galaxy froze. The council realized they were not facing diplomats, not soldiers, but legends of humanity itself returned to remind the galaxy what it had lost. Humanity had returned. And this time, the galaxy would never forget. The council world trembled. Humanity's ancient warships had taken positions across the system. Not attacking, not firing, not threatening directly, just controlling everything. Every fleet, every station, every jump gate. Systems froze in perfect order. Civilian ships drifted safely but uselessly. The humans had complete dominance without a single shot. Delegates in the council chambers shouted and argued. "Open communications! Demand an explanation!" One yelled. A senior alien diplomat shook its head. "It is too late. They do not negotiate. They act." Across the galaxy, other species watched in awe and terror. News feeds showed the humans' movements. Systems that had never failed before went dark. Fleets drifted, frozen in space. Cities stopped, orbiting silently. Everyone realized humans were not just returning. They were teaching the galaxy a lesson. Council sensors tried desperately to track the ships. Every time a sensor locked on, the human warships vanished and reappeared elsewhere. It was impossible to predict them. Every move was deliberate, precise, and terrifying. Inside the council chambers, whispers filled the room. They are legends," one delegate murmured. "They do not fight like us. They fight like the history remembers. But sharper, faster, stronger." The humans did not attack. They broadcasted only proof of control. Holographic images filled every screen. Fleets frozen, stations powerless, cities locked in quiet order. No violence. No screams. Only absolute authority. Then the message came. A single broadcast across every council channel. Words appeared on the screens in stark white letters. We have returned. The galaxy remembers our silence, our patience, and our power. Silence followed. Delegates froze. Citizens across dozens of species held their breath. They had witnessed the resurrection of humanity's ancient strength. The humans moved slowly, deliberately, showing they could strike anywhere but chose not to. Their ships were shadows of the past, yet their presence was heavier than any war fleet ever built. It was awe. It was fear. It was respect. A young delegate whispered, trembling, "Are they gods?" The oldest council member, glowing dimly, shook its head. "Not gods, humans, but we have forgotten what that means." The humans' fleet began to spread outward in calculated arcs, surrounding not just the council world, but the key jump points of neighboring systems. They were demonstrating power, control, and reach without a single act of destruction. Civilizations that had ignored humanity for centuries now scrambled to understand. Ships were recalled. Defense plans were rewritten mid-flight. Scholars and historians scoured ancient records to remember the old wars. The galaxy realized it, had forgotten a predator that never truly died. Back on Earth, in the silent command center, officers monitored every screen. The general looked at the data. "Phase 4 complete," he said. "They are in awe." "They know who we are," a young officer asked. "And now?" The general's eyes were calm. "Now they respect us, fear us, and they will remember this day for 1,000 generations." In the council chambers, delegates could only watch. Every order they gave failed. Every attempt to regain control crumbled. Humanity's return had changed the rules of the galaxy. The message was clear to everyone. Humans do not fight to conquer. Humans fight to remind the galaxy of their power. And humanity had arrived first. The galaxy stared in awe, and somewhere, deep in the shadows of Earth's fleet command, the officers prepared for the final phase. The hunt was complete, but the lesson was only beginning. The council world was quiet. For the first time in thousands of years, delegates could do nothing. The humans had returned not to negotiate, not to attack, but to show the galaxy who they were. Ancient warships drifted silently around key systems. Fleets were frozen. Defense stations powerless. Communication hubs dead. Citizens watched helplessly, alive but unable to act. The humans controlled everything with absolute precision. Then the humans broadcasted a single message to every corner of the galaxy. We have returned. We remembered. We act when the galaxy forgets us. Do not test humanity again. No words of anger. No threats. No chaos. Only authority. The council realized they had underestimated humans. Not just their technology, but their patience, their strategy, and their will. Humans did not rush to war. Humans did not act without reason. They waited, and when they arrived, the galaxy could do nothing but watch. Back on Earth, officers monitored every screen. The general spoke calmly. "They will remember this day," he said. "They will remember that humanity does not forget. Humanity does not forgive. And humanity arrives when it matters most." The human fleet slowly withdrew, leaving systems intact but completely changed. The council world and neighboring civilizations could function again, but the balance of power had shifted. Humanity was no longer a distant legend. They were the galaxy's undisputed predator. Across the stars, civilizations adapted. Strategies were rewritten. Treaties reconsidered. Scholars studied human history. Citizens whispered in awe. The galaxy understood one simple truth: humans do not wait to be challenged. Humans arrive first. Humans decide when the lesson is over. No celebration followed on Earth. No victory parades. Only quiet observation, planning, and readiness. Humanity had proven its power not through destruction, but through control, precision, and timeless patience. The Council would never forget the lesson. Other species would never forget. The galaxy now feared human silence more than human fire. Long after the humans withdrew to the shadows of their home systems, the memory of their return lingered. Systems once considered safe trembled in thought. Leaders spoke of the ancient fleet and the day humanity returned after 3,000 years, not to conquer, but to remind. The message was clear and eternal. Respect humanity. Do not underestimate humanity. Never forget humanity. And somewhere, deep in Earth's silent command centers, the general watched the last readings from the human fleet. The galaxy knows now, he said quietly. And we remain ready, always. The galaxy stared in awe. A new era had begun. Humanity had returned. And nothing would ever be the same.